Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is once again another episode of Assiduous, and I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis, but of course you already knew that. And this is a serial entrepreneur, the Filipino Prince Tycoon, Rene Lacad, and we are another episode of Assiduous. What's going on, fam?
Jarvis, open the mask. I am Iron Man.
You see what happened when you just...
Close the mask, Jarvis.
When you got just too much time on your hands. You wear now you representing the company alongside wearing this here helmet. You got this yesterday?
I got this yesterday.
Haven't taken it off since?
Yo, I have not taken it off. I've been sleeping with this. Anytime I need to eat, I open the mask.
Oh, no, it's already open. It can't open any further.
Anytime I need protection on my face, I blank the mask. I can't say it because then it will close the mask. If I
think the mic would probably pick... Oh, see, there it is. Anytime you say close the mask, it closes up. Oh, no, it closed again. Okay, so if you say open the mask, I can command you from a distance.
That's crazy, right? Imagine, like, I'm fighting a bad guy, and they're like, yo, close the mask. And I'm like, oh, shit.
You could see out of it, though.
Yeah.
Does it have different modes?
There is, but I don't know how to do it yet. Open the mask. Open the mask. Okay, yeah, I don't know how to do any of this stuff yet, so I don't know. But it's cool as fuck. I'm going to build an entire suit. You guys are going to see it. We're going to premiere it on the Assiduous podcast.
Gonna build a suit.
I'm building a suit, bro. I'm going to make a real Iron Man suit. You're all going to see it. It's going to be the coolest fucking thing ever. We're going to blow things up. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to have evidently here Iron Man suit. Maybe I might have to get a War Machine one going on. Yo, there you go.
But that's going to be interesting.
He was black too.
Exactly. Yeah. The dynamic works, but unfortunately Robert Downey Jr. is not Asian. But
I know.
One way or another. So now that makes me wonder. So we're blowing stuff up here. You mentioned you're going to have like the hands rather than shooting. It's going to be laser beams.
Laser beam cannons from the hands, yeah. It's going to be sick, bro.
And an exoskeleton.
I'm going to try to get exoskeleton. I'm going to try to do all of them. I'm doing research. I obviously don't know, but I have money. People always say, like, what would you do if you had money? This would be one of them. This is a fun hobby of mine that I would like to do because I have enough resources to do it. But yeah, man. Like that, what would you do? If you had infinite money, what would you do that's just like something like this?
I would try to start the process of trying to develop a time machine, knowing that there's no way that can be made.
Yeah, but that's crazy, bro. That seems like a little far
There's
from
legitimately no way that it can be done.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. But I think if I had an infinite amount of money, I would spend the vast majority of it. Maybe not so much a vast majority, but I'd spend a great deal of trying to see, I wonder if this is possible.
That would be cool. What would you do with a time machine? I saw this meme. It was funny. It's like women with like a time machine versus men with a time machine. And it's like women are like, I want to meet my great-grandmother. And men are like, let's go kill Hitler.
You could go back in time, stuff like that. I think I would go to different moments in life and maybe just go and relive them. Maybe, or maybe just watch.
But would you be taking place of your old self, or would you be watching your old self from a distance?
I'd be watching myself from a distance because I think the moment that you go back in time and you try to change something,
it fucks everything up.
So
where it gets messed up, it's like theoretically that could be happening right now. Like one of your old selves could be in a building here with binoculars watching this exact moment as we speak, and that's where everything happens.
Right. But I think if I had an unlimited amount of money, probably work my way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty heavy. You said it's about a pound?
Shit hurts my ears. Oh, goddamn. Okay, relax. Oh, okay.
Dude, it could just be a weapon in and of itself, just throwing it at somebody. Could you imagine if somebody broke into your house and you can throw an Iron Man helmet at them? Like, can you imagine the police report? That would be hilarious. Like, yeah, so a perp walked into the house and then got hit in the face with the Iron Man helmet. That is hilarious. Yeah. You could bludgeon somebody with one of those. Literally. Yeah, but it's a pound, so it's not too heavy, but you got to, like, do, like, the Mike Tyson neck muscles.
Money ever. I was always afraid to spend money.
And how much did that go for?
This was not that bad. It was like $300, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too bad.
And I'm gonna buy some
other stuff. That's a decent price.
Like my wife. My wife was not. She was like, "You're such a child." When I showed her, because First thing I did, I walked up in the room and I scared the child.
Oh, hey.
She, the baby was sleeping, and I walk up and I'm like, close the mask.
Hey.
And then the dog started barking, like, ah!
Isn't that the beauty of actually having like money to where you can just do different things? And this is
That's what I
relatively
mean,
inexpensive to a certain degree. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
anyone can do that.
It's
But
not that
all
big
the
of a
other
deal.
shit I'm gonna add to it are gonna
Right,
be sick.
right. That's
I'm
where
not-
you take things to like a different, like even people who build like exotic cars.
They have
I've always
money, yeah.
wondered like how much can you put into things? Because when I was a kid, I was never a car guy, but I knew guys who were car guys, and they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'd love to build my own car and all this other stuff. And I remember the Batmobile when during Batman Begins, up into
Yeah.
Dark Knight, then into Dark Knight Rises. There were a ton of people who were like, man, I want to build my own Batmobile. I want to have that. And there's some channels on YouTube where people have built that stuff, but they seldom do you hear them, on average, I guess, say how much money they spent to put into their passion
And
project.
I think that, yeah, it's true. It's
'Cause
crazy.
it's
how
a lot of
well,
money.
Who was it? Like all these like billionaires will just spend random money on random things. Like Mark Zuckerberg, he has that little foiling thing. He does the foiling. And I looked at how much that is, and I was like, damn, this is like 50 G's for one of these little boards. I'm like, that's crazy,
It's nothing to
right?
it.
And
Even
then-
wasn't for Elon, wasn't it a like SpaceX was just a passion project?
No, that was like his mission, but his passion project was like Twitter.
Ah, okay.
44
okay.
billion for a passion project, which is crazy, bro. Like, so I don't know. People will go to the depths to like make some shit like a passion project for them.
Right, because I've never. Now that I think about it, what would it be for me?
But
'Cause-
isn't it crazy? Like the more money you make, the more like you just spend money on random shit.
Yeah, because more often than not, I mean, there's a point in which you'll get to somewhere like, all right, the moment you start to make a bit of money to where you have disposable income, you'll spend it on things that you almost always wanted, or things that interest you in the moment because
Yeah.
you have the money to do so. Naturally, that gets worked out of you. I think you'll get to a point where you've
You
bought
find out
enough.
what no, but you find out what you like.
Yeah,
and
what
then
you
stick
like,
to
and
those.
the curiosity that itch leaves to a certain degree. It
Yeah.
doesn't always happen, but more often than not, okay, I've always wanted this, I got this. I've always wanted to do this, I've done this. I wanted to always go here, I went there. It's kind of, once that happens, now your curiosity to a certain degree starts to spike.
Right.
But as you continue to make more money, now you're like, all right, maybe I can look towards putting something towards like a passion project.
We talk about the opposite too. Like, remember we were driving to Starbucks this morning, and there was
Yeah.
like a chair. I'm like, there's a homeless guy that lives there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He set up a base in the middle of just the random city. He's gonna get kicked off eventually, but he has like his belongings there. He has a little suitcase. He has like and a chair, and he just feeds birds there. And he's just a homeless guy.
Right.
He just chills there. He has no, like, his passion project is like, he doesn't really have a passion project. But then we started talking about, I'm like, how, it's kind of hard to become homeless. It sounds crazy, like, it sounds inconsiderate. So I mean this in the nicest way possible, but like, in order to, like, if you have any sort of interested, like, if I were to be completely broke, I would just be walking around the city, finding things I like to do. And I feel like you would make money somehow and, like, not be homeless.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
'cause,
you
yeah,
would
it's-
get a camera and just make a video, and then you would not be homeless.
Right, but
So-
then at that same point, it depends on like how homeless is like, because there's just individuals who are without a home. Like there's people who
Yeah.
live out of their car, but you have a place to sleep.
Yeah, it's
versus
not
somebody
homeless.
who you're on the street, and then you also have the severe side of where you're homeless and you're a bum.
Yep.
So there's different
bum.
like levels.
I remember you
but
said
then-
this early on. You said there's a difference between like a homeless
Yeah, a
person
difference
and a
between
bum.
a homeless and a bum. Yeah, it's a completely different between a homeless and a bum. Like homeless, now you've fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
You're going through a season in life. The bum, you're at the end. I think you're at the end stage.
This
Very
is it.
difficult to go
How do
from
you
bum
get to
and
bum
get out.
level? How do you get to
right,
bum
because
status?
that's where for me I've always wondered like how do you get to that level? Because I've always loved to like talk to homeless. I used to do it.
Just talk to homeless?
Yeah, this was maybe 2017, 2016,
what?
2017. Just yeah, because in New York City, I think it's second to maybe LA
To homeless
where the
people?
biggest amount of homeless people. So back like 2016, 2017, I would go and I used to always buy, this is when halal food, you could get like a chicken over rice, a lamb over rice, just $5. So wherever they had those carts, whether it been in Brooklyn, whether it been in Queens, whether it been in Manhattan, as the dogs are running around, the homeless would always be in the area. And there was a time in which I'd always carry like an extra like $5 just in
What did you
cash.
talk
and just
to
give
them
it out.
about?
Oh, I would just talk to like, how did you like? What's your story? How did you get to this point? It was always brief because I couldn't find
what did they
myself to
say?
sit there. Some of them would be like, man, I had this job, and then one guy said he went through a divorce. After he went through a divorce, he essentially lost like everything, then lost his job. Once he lost his job, he got depressed. And once he got depressed, he's like, you know what, fuck it. And just had no motivation to get out of the situation. But then what was throwing me off was like, you're comfortable now. So I had asked him, like, are you happy? He was like, well, no, I'm not. But, you know, that's life. And that's kind of what ended the conversation for me. I'm like, all right,
Yeah, so
you're unhappy. You know you're unhappy, but you're unwilling to do anything to change it.
So when you talk about solving the homelessness problem, right? How do you fix a problem when the person doesn't have any motivation?
Yeah, because
you
even if you don't have the motivation, maybe there can be a bit of discipline that exists. But if that doesn't exist for you, that's it.
Because like the only way you get there is if you really have no, like if you say, hey, we'll give you a house, but then you just got to work a job. They'll be like, I don't really want to. Then it's like, well, how am I supposed to give you a house?
Exactly. It's like the SpongeBob. I don't really feel like it.
Yeah.
Because that's where I think it's different levels.
That's really hard to fix, bro.
Because there's people who live out of their cars and they're making it happen.
When you're trying to like do something about
right?
it, it's very different than like
right.
Shit,
And then there's even those who you don't have somewhere to live out of, but you wake up in the morning and there was a guy who was like a pickup artist. He was freaking homeless. And he was like sleeping with these girls left and right. Like, how do you find somewhere to go to sleep? Like, well, I'll just go clean up at the gym or at a gas station that just so happens to have like a bathroom that you can take a shower in. Then I'll spend the entire day. Sometimes I'll go begging or something for some money, or I'll go to a barber shop and sweep for like $5. Because really think about it. There's a lot of different places that you can go to make the smallest minimal amount of money. And considering with like diet, if you're in a situation where you don't have no income for all intents and purposes, you can survive off of like $20 to $50 a day. Because think about it, if you have no home, no vehicle, granted you have to shop, you have to clean yourself. That's important, right? That's incredibly important. You're outside all day, so you're probably gonna stink by the end of the day. But for food, you can buy a sandwich somewhere for cheap and split it to where you eat one and then
work a minimum wage job and like afford life.
But then even if you
like afford food and stuff.
No, but let's just say if you're aesthetic, because let's call it what it is. Because if you were to go into somewhere to work minimum wage, but you go in for the interview, but you're completely raggedy and everything, they're probably not going to take you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of
the door.
Right, they won't let you in the door. But there's a lot of other places that you could be like, hey, you know, you're down on your luck. You're just looking for, you don't need to be paid like all this other stuff. Just kick me like 20, $30 for the day. I'll just sweep and I'll do all this other stuff.
Landscaping.
Right. But in situations like that, I think you're able to at least get something to survive the day. Now, that won't put you on a trajectory to go. You'll have to do that on your own, of building those connections, having that natural sympathy from people that kicks in. Because I don't think most of them want to be pitied. But because there's a ton of people who've been completely down on their luck, found themselves homeless, pulled themselves out of it. My thing is just like, when you get to that point where it's like, all right, this is it for me. I'm not doing shit. Like
when you're completely dead inside, that's
right.
What it's like.
Like you're dead on the inside. You've pretty much either burned every bridge that you had, or you've had no resources and nobody you can turn to.
Yeah.
Because like I think about like a foster child or something like that. You're in the system.
Yeah.
Then it's very difficult. I'm pretty sure there's a percentage of people who end up doing crime just so they can get arrested and have somewhere to sleep.
That is a real crazy way to think about it. It's like, yo, you just commit a crime, you go to jail, you have a place, you have a bed.
There's a ton of people like that.
Food.
I've heard of people that go there to get sober. You know, homeless guys that are addicted to something, they get arrested. That's the best way to get sober.
So you're saying the best way to solve homelessness is to put them in jail?
I mean, shit. At this point, I mean, they should have been making more shelters.
I mean, yeah.
For people, because there is definitely excess of food to where we can at least feed individuals. Because this came to mind not only because we saw the gentleman's post earlier when we went to Target, but also I just finished watching The Wire. And when watching The Wire, there's a character named Bubs who was a heroin addict. And he was, for all intents and purposes, homeless, found places to live, but he was
I think
junkie.
A lot of the time it's like couch surfing. type
Right, you're
things,
couch surfing. You
Yeah.
have to rob Peter to pay Paul just to get some drugs. Like the whole day is the chase,
Yeah.
so that you can go and get high. But you'll always find like a drug addict will.
They said that.
They'll
There
do
was a tweet
everything
that was like, yo,
that they can
Like
to
you
get
never
to the
you
high.
never see a crackhead say, "Damn, I can't go get crack today." They always find a way to make some
They'll
money to go get
find
crack.
a way.
So it's like you're gonna let a crackhead out hustle you today? That's crazy.
So it blows my mind because granted, I don't want to come on very ignorant about it. And be like, oh well,
Too late.
you've never experienced it and everything. But
That's every episode.
it's always piqued my curiosity. Like, how did you get to this point to where now you're here? Because that's how I have the tears of it. Because I won't never look at all the homeless the same way.
Yeah. If you live in your car, it's very different from
Right.
like just out on the streets just doing
And then
nothing.
even like you're on this, because I would think about, all right, let's get into it. What's the day in the life of a homeless?
You should just go downstairs and get
Day-
one.
yeah, that's
right?
a YouTube video.
Like
Day in
you-
the life of a homeless.
Right, like you wake up in the morning, because let's just assume you don't have.
Where do you wake up? Like on the sidewalk?
like let's just assume you don't have a phone, because if how are you paying this bill? Right,
You'd be
you could have
surprised.
A burner.
I've
You
had a
could have
bunch of people
burner,
be like,
maybe.
"You want to look at my wife?" And
Hey.
it's like a picture of Jennifer Aniston.
No, but like
Yeah.
some homeless people are like, "Yo, bro, I don't got no cash." Like, you do Zelle? I'm like, bro, how you got a Zelle?
See, that's a different
they
level.
pull out the iPad,
see, that's
flip
a
it on
different
you.
level.
The
That's a
fuck?
different level. That must have been like a new, fresh homeless. Like it's
fresh
not
homeless.
like you haven't been there for a while,
A
but
fresh one.
because me personally, I don't
Especially
know.
The
in-
longer they stay homeless, the less they have.
Well, you would assume so,
Yeah,
because
makes sense.
there's no way as you continue, then you start to
So
grow an
like,
empire.
you know zombies, like when you're freshly infected, they're kind of like this, but then like the deeper they get into the
Right,
infected, they
right.
become
You're
like
super
Start
zombie
missing
Right,
eyeballs.
right. So
Yeah.
there's homeless-fied, I guess.
Homeless-fied,
individuals.
okay.
But I would think you wake up in the morning. Let's just assume you don't have, a phone
Where do you wake
or
up?
anything.
Sidewalk?
Right?
Sidewalk.
Some sort of
Sidewalk
shelter?
or a bench somewhere. Let's just say
Okay.
you're not at a
And the
a
bench is
shelter,
on a sidewalk,
right?
so that's
And I would
Okay.
assume there's like a race to the shelter every.
You think they wake up
evening.
early? Or you think they wake up late?
They
I
wake
would
up
say
whenever.
you wake up when the sun comes up. Really?
No,
Yeah,
I've
I have
seen homeless people sleep.
No, I mean I have as well,
Yeah,
but I would assume if it was a day in the life of a homeless, you
You
wake
wake
up
up 7
in the
a.m.
morning, right? You wake up. Let's just say 7 a.m. You get up, right?
push-ups.
7 a.m. You get up. We'll just assume that you're stinky, right? We'll just assume that
Yep.
you're
Sure.
stinky.
Accurate.
I would assume the very first goal of the day is to find somewhere to where you can clean yourself. So,
Eat.
I don't think so.
right?
I
I
think
don't
it's
think
eat.
they do that.
Well, no, it depends. Because, I mean, how at that point in the lifestyle,
I
how
genuinely
urgent is
feel
it to
like-
go and get breakfast?
Yeah, I don't
first thing
think
in the
like I
morning?
think your metabolism is slowed down so much that like because even now like I used to eat breakfast every day. Now I try to avoid it, and my metabolism caught up. So it's like I wake up, I'm not like
Yeah, but
yo, I'm
you
starving.
But you have a meal the night before. You probably eat well. You have a nice steak.
Yeah, but these dudes they're living fucking no. They
Yeah, because
need-
if this is your
I'm not
lifestyle,
gonna lie. I think a homeless can outperform an average person as far as food wise. Like they can make.
oh, absolutely,
they could,
because
like,
you've been able to do so much more
little
with
food
less.
consumption for a homeless would actually get them farther than the average human because their metabolism is so accustomed to like using that fuel. They have a more efficient engine than the average. Like,
And I would assume if you
person.
could allocate something towards all that additional free time, they'd be
So,
able
yeah,
to be
I
a
don't
high
think they, I
functioning.
don't think they clean themselves though, because if that were the case, there would be no. If they woke up every morning being like, let me go find a way to get clean, you wouldn't have any smelly homeless people. The reason they
Well, that
smell
is
'cause
true. Well,
they
yeah.
sit for like weeks in that filth, bro, and they're just
No,
like,
because that's what has me thinking. Like, what do you think is the
I
first
think they
objective
wake up-
of the day?
They wake up, sit around for an hour, doing nothing. And they're like, man, I should go get some money today. I'm hungry.
Food.
Go get some money, get food.
Now, what would you say is the method of getting some money? Is it the begging on the street? Hey,
They're not getting money. They're gonna go to a dumpster and look for whatever scrap.
So I think some of them do that, but I do think some of them.
yeah, there are some who do go
I
get
think some-
bottles,
yeah, but I
hustle
think
for some
some-
bottles.
No, I mean go to dumpsters and try and find leftover food.
Oh,
anything.
I've seen
and I
some
say
going
that
to the
because
trash.
I work
yeah.
at a place and we have a dumpster outside, and I look at the security camera footage, and there's
Yes.
always a dude in our dumpster.
So I think that's one way to do it. I think those are the real homeless ones. I think if you're smart, you're just gonna go beg on a corner. Think about it, because I did the math, right? I ran the math on that one time, and I'm like, yo, this intersection has the same guy there every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, this is your corner. You're like, this is your territory. You own this. What is stopping other homeless people from taking your corner? Nothing. You gotta be like discouraging them somehow.
Right.
Because I know if I'm freshly homeless, I'm gonna take the hottest corner. So this guy has the hottest corner. Maybe, I don't know, 5,000 cars a day. Think about it. If one out of every 200 cars were to give him like $20, $5 even.
Well, I mean,
$5 for every
considering
200 cars.
for $5, yeah, probably five, probably between $5 and
That gets them like
$5 and
$125,
$10.
$150 a day.
Well, then again, it all depends because once you get to that red light, you could get some spare change here. It would just all depend on how much it is that you're getting. And I'm
But
just
I think
thinking
if he's
it would
working an
be
8-hour shift. He's getting at least like $150 a day.
I think it would be so. But then at 150 a day. Granted, you have no savings
Tax-free.
account at that point. It's tax-free, right?
Tax-free.
So, considering what you would be able to eat, I think truly you would be able to survive off of
Facts. Well,
less than $50 just off of
there's
food
a
alone.
whole documentary about this. It's about like people that aren't really homeless, but what they do is they dress up as homeless people.
Oh, yeah, I've
they
seen
go
that,
to
yeah.
corners
In New
because
York,
they
yeah,
make more money doing that than fucking working a job.
Yeah, 'cause
think
there's-
about it. You work a job for $11 an hour minimum wage. You get taxed on that. You go homeless. You pay no taxes. You're clearing $200, $250 a day. Like, it's kind
And
of
it all
better,
depends on how you do it. Because this is why I brought up earlier where let's just say if you were to go to like a barber shop or something, you're like, hey, I'll do this for like $5 or maybe like $20 or something like that. Like you don't got to get paid some super amount of money. Like you're not asking for some sort of hourly wage, but you can do this from multiple different places. Like you could go into a barber shop where probably peak hours it'd be between like a 1 and a 7 p.m. Let's just say you were to pop in there. Most of them would open about like 10. It says some that open at 9, but let's say between 10 to 1. If there's a bunch of like hair that's around, you would just have to daily identify when's that peak period. Go in there, be like, hey, I'll sweep this for like $10. More often than not, the barbers, hey, $10. Hey, it is what it is. Now you just go to a bunch of different businesses. You do that around the time. Now you can make you cleared 100 at that time slot. And it probably took you less than an hour because how long does it really take you to sweep hair? It's not going to take that long. So there's a lot of different options that are there because you can either, I think, begging on the street, although it can be profitable to where you could get like that $150 to $250 a day, because there's so much people who's doing it, you got to also take into account how many
market
homeless
saturation of homeless
has the
beggars.
yeah, like how many
That's crazy.
cars have passed numerous different homeless people.
saturation.
You could, if you're the
Yo.
first homeless that they saw,
Like he's building
you
a
probably
business
have
out
a
of the
higher
economics of
probability. No,
homeless.
because my mind is running. I'm so curious about it.
Yo.
Like, because I don't want to come off like somebody
if
who's
we're
like,
gonna, if we're gonna do a whole business breakdown,
Right.
it's all about your pitch too.
Right,
Like the guy over
right.
there, he has a sign. He goes like this. He dances with it. I'm like, yo, I like this guy. I've given him money before.
Yeah,
And
'cause
I
if you got energy,
I see him
that-
every single day.
Right.
He's happy. He's like jamming. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy. If I'm gonna give one money, he's the one that's getting it.
because somebody who has high energy, has high spirit, and you have the appearance of somebody who's making the best of your situation and still carrying said joy versus somebody who's like, you're completely down
it's
on
gotten
your
to the
luck.
point
and-
where I drive past the intersection. I'm like, yo, my boy is not here today. What's going on? Where is he? Is he okay? I think about him. Like last time he wasn't there, I was like, is he good? Where's he at? I need my boy right here. He became a staple. He's a landmark of that corner now. And like,
Right. You know, now that I got my mind thinking.
so his marketing is good, better than, because I see some guys that are like, man, I'm not gonna give you money.
Yeah, because I've seen people in Manhattan where you'll be laying like on the street, you'll have a sign like you're going through something. Whenever I see like veteran or something, like, oh, that's unfortunate. Because I've had a lot of different times where I bought some homeless some food, and I've had a time, I've told the story before where I was walking with my buddy. He had given out dollars, and then we got to the point where he was out of dollars, and then the last homeless person who saw him give it to another homeless, the last of his dollars, he like cursed him out. It's like, yo, you just saw me help 20 because I couldn't help you, then
There's the
you
thing,
know,
it's
so
like
fuck you.
unethical like way to make the world a better place. And it's like, get a bunch of counterfeit money, give
Oh,
them away to all
jeez.
the homeless people.
Oh
Brutal.
my
The
god.
homeless people will then try to use this counterfeit money, which is illegal. It's a felony. They'll go to jail. When they go to jail, not only do you clean up your streets, but you also give them a home and you give them
that's
food.
crazy. Yeah, but I'm pretty
Oh
sure
my
immediately.
God.
Now, it's a very unethical way to actually get them
And
inside
then
of
you clean
it.
up your
But
city, and then you give them housing, and it's like everyone wins. but it's
almost
just
immediate, because
crazy.
they would, the amount of counterfeits that you can give out within a day, because you could probably buy counterfeit, like you could get like Diddy bucks or
Diddy
no,
bucks, Usher bucks.
Usher bucks. You could get some Usher bucks. Well, technically Usher Diddy. I mean, but you could get yourself some Usher bucks. On like Amazon, or you could get like fake dollars for
Yeah.
nothing. You could give out a great deal. So let's just say if you had 1,000 people go and do this. You're probably, by the end of the day, 40 to 400,000 homeless individuals probably in their hands would have counterfeit
And
money.
then literally you just clean up the city.
But
you get them
within
housing.
a week, the moment that they would identify, like, yo, we have a pandemic of homeless with counterfeit money, they're going to set up a situation where, like, you know what? We're not going to put them in prison.
Damn.
So then they're going to leave you out. Well, maybe not so much prison, but jail.
That's
but we're not
crazy,
going to do it
bro.
because there'd be an overabundance of individuals. Because you know
Government's
that's
screwing
not.
people over again.
Yeah,
They're
they're
like,
not
"We're
going to look
give
to
you
help the
housing.
people. They're definitely not going to do that.
We're not going to give you housing. We're not going to give you food. Stay on the streets. It's crazy.
Right, because I remember, and I think I mentioned prior that I would love to have like some sort of down the line rec center, set something up to where you can bring homeless in, educate them. If they are already educated, you put them in a situation where you could go and get
Prison.
a job, give a whole shower and everything,
Want to know something crazy?
and want to do
You
something
know,
good
like,
for the
one of
community.
The
but-
best rehabilitation centers. It's prison. It sounds so fucked up, but like,
Well, it's
dudes will-
supposed to be.
Dudes will go to prison. They'll come back out and they're like.
They'll come out
fucking
Christian.
Christian, yeah, like reborn.
But on average, it all depends because
Yeah,
there
it
are
is a
isolated
fucking-
moments in which some can go to prison that
is a
actually
death
did
trap.
rehabilitate them. Or you have those who are just in the system, it does absolutely nothing for them.
You know what you need?
Which
need
I
a,
would
you
think
need
is
a
a
prison
vast
that's
majority.
a liability. Because I think the issue is for-profit prisons, so they want people in there. They don't give a fuck. But if you have a prison that's a liability that's costing the government tons of money, where they have to make it efficient, so they need less people in there, they're gonna turn that bitch into like you go in, you get fixed, you get out.
That's what the goal should be. For
Yeah,
prison.
but
it's
because they
not.
make money for every person that's in there, they don't do that. But if they say like, yo, like it's a big liability to us to have people in here, I think they make the process better. They make it like less
Because
difficult.
the idea of prison should be you come here so that you don't come here again.
Yeah.
Right,
But-
but I think it's supposed to be so shitty that it's supposed to scare you away from doing
Right,
it.
but then the downside is because it's so shitty, I think there's less of an intention on making sure the person leaves a better human being.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem as if that's the case there.
Yeah.
So you end up finding people who are in the system, and
Well,
it's like
hard
an
'cause- it's
infinite
hard 'cause
fucking
you,
loop.
You surround them with all of the worst people.
Right.
So like, and then
right.
like when you have like just a cesspit of negativity, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Because some people aren't leaving.
Right, exactly. Hence why I think there should be some sort of separation where you can't just be somebody like, I'm in here on tax evasion. And then
Well,
you
there
got
is.
somebody
There's
who's in there
federal-
on some,
there's
you
federal
know, murder.
prison,
But
and
yeah,
then-
I mean federal, and then you have like the state, and then all this other stuff. But
One
it
of
all
them is for
depends.
those guys, and then the other
Right.
one is for like the rapists and murderers.
Because I know with I think it's ADX is the maximum prison, like the strongest stronghold of the prisons in America. Like it's like the modern day Alcatraz, but on a lesser, degree, or maybe more. I don't know.
Guantanamo Bay.
But it's just like those types of situations. Whenever you see somebody like, okay, you go to prison, did you come out better than you went in?
Yeah.
And I think
federal
more
versus
on a-
state prisons.
Yeah.
State prisons predominantly detain individuals convicted of violent acts. Federal prisons predominantly house inmates convicted of drug-related or white-collar crimes and are generally considered safer than state prisons. So there is that
Wow.
division.
Huh?
So
so
you want to go
like-
federal if you're gonna go. You don't want to go to a state
You
prison.
don't want to go state, but
No.
then you go federal, you're probably there for much longer.
Who was that guy, the big pharma dude that raised up the prices?
What's his face? I know his name. Shkreli, Martin Shkreli.
Yes. He was in a federal prison.
Huh.
Federal prison. Whereas a shooter or whatever would be in a state one. So they're not mixed.
Depending on where, I guess. Depending on what it is that you did.
Yeah, depending on what you did.
I would assume
obviously.
like
I
you're a
think what
serial
happens
killer.
is
you're
Violent
going
crimes,
federal.
state, non-violent crimes, federal.
Right.
Well, wouldn't you go federal if you committed like a federal violent crime?
Well,
The
yeah, I
issue
mean,
is
you
like
shoot a police.
The
then-
issue is like, for example, if you shoot someone here, then it's prosecuted here. But like if you do tax evasion, it's a federal crime, so you go to federal. So what is a federal violent crime? I guess
A RICO.
assassination attempt. would be
Yeah.
a federal violent crime. So then you would go
Yeah.
to the federal.
Capital. I mean,
Actually,
capital murder.
RICO.
No, it doesn't matter. Like, if you commit a non-violent crime, you go to federal prison, not state, regardless of where you are. And it says here that federal prisons generally boast a more modern infrastructure compared to state prisons, so they're better funded.
So yeah, probably because all the people that do nonviolent crimes are the money launderers, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna go to federal. Let's just make those nice."
Nearly half of the federal prison population consists of individuals convicted on drug charges.
That makes sense.
Inmates in state prisons are assigned duties. In federal prisons, they are not. State prison inmates typically serve their entire sentence before release, which tend to be longer in duration. Federal prison inmates are typically released after completing a portion of their sentence, usually around 85%.
So you don't want to go to state prison then?
No.
No, that's the fucking scary
Yeah,
one.
I guess that's the worst situation because you're in there with the worst of the worst.
The worst of the
kind of
worst.
situation versus federal. At least you have an idea of who you're encountering. But one way or another, and not just to circle that back towards like the homeless situation, they probably have ordeals where, let's just say, if they were to put you in like the county jail or something like that, you try to do something to where now you can have a much more recurring kind of stay. If the biggest fear is, all right, we'll put you in state prison, I would understand why they wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, but I think some people are like, if you're so dead inside to do nothing, like there's nothing that scares you. You're like, okay, cool. You're just fucking going with them.
Yeah, because you're kind of just waiting on when that time comes
okay, I'll
for
go
you
to
to be
prison.
up out of
Okay,
here.
I'm in prison. Okay, I'll just sit in prison.
And that's the other thing. I think it takes a lot more to go to prison than it is to, like you said, a county jail.
Yeah,
where they'll
because
hold
the
you for a
county
night or
jail.
two.
Because the thing is, like, if you on Friday, I would assume it's like the prime time to go and do some shit so you could get arrested, and now they can't release you until Monday, right? So you have somewhere to stay. But then if you do enough things and they recognize this is what your game plan is, naturally, just because it's a money game and ultimately them housing you would take money out of their pockets, they're going to find a way to not do anything. So they would just like relocate you. Like, all right, make it seem as if you're getting arrested, then take you elsewhere, take off the cuffs and just leave you over there. There's no doubt in my mind they probably do this.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, it still leaves me at a position like, man, all right, there's still the different tiers of the homeless, but now you find yourself in a position like, all right, what do you do?
So there's like the bum, then there's the homeless, then there's the people in their cars living that are kind of grinding it out, and there's people that are like on the border of eviction, and there's people that are living like comfortable, or not comfortable, like below, like struggling paycheck to paycheck, then people that are living comfortable, and then everyone else.
Yeah.
So those are the tiers.
It's just tiers all the way from the top all the way down to the bottom. And it makes me wonder how far are each tier from each other. Because let's just say if you're somebody who's paycheck to paycheck, how close are you to eviction? 2 bad months, bam, could you be at eviction right there? And then if you're at the eviction, how fast, bam, now you're living outside of your car.
It's like a fucking boom, boom, boom.
It's
boom,
like
boom.
how long would it take?
Well, you know why? That's why people are they live so stressed out, right? Like people that are making under 70 grand a year, their stress tends to be a lot higher because they're like one little misstep away from a fucking catastrophe.
Right.
Any little thing could happen and they're fucked. You know, one car accident, they're fucked. One medical bill and they're fucked. One anything and they're kind of screwed if they are living paycheck to paycheck, which most people are.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that is I find myself asking, what can be adjusted in the day-to-day? Let's just say if you're fixed at 40,000, what can be adjusted in your life to make things comfortable? Because you can downsize where it is that you live. Let's just say you were to be in a studio. Let's just assume that you're a single individual. Actually, no, we'll go towards family because I think that's probably the most relatable, where you have, like, let's say it's a family of 4, husband, wife, 2 children. And the total income is 40 grand. And the number pops in my mind because I saw my parents' tax return from 2005, and I think it was like 43 grand between the both of them. But and now let's say you're living somewhere, you try to get like the smallest possible location that you can, the cheapest location. Granted, you're probably not going to be in a good neighborhood that exists there. Navigating around, in order to be efficient, probably the cheapest option would just be use public transportation. But it depends on where you are.
True.
Because I would assume if you're somewhere, right, because you could get it like a hoopty or something like that to get around, but you're probably only going to have one car. And if the husband's working, the wife is working, the 2 children, depending on the ages, how much money can be allocated towards the children? And then the parents, essentially, there is no going out. Like where the dates is with the kids. You're not spending any additional money. Like how would you cut the finances
So I think
to
that's
where
the,
you can
I think
get
the
by?
issue is you can't, just because the price is gonna go up no matter what.
Right,
like,
right.
This is one thing we talked about, right? Like I had a tweet that went viral, got over 1 million views, and it's about the gap in the wording I used was a little mean, but like I had to do it. The gap between the financial knowledge gap between rich people and broke people is so fucking huge that it almost feels like broke people have no chance. And even when you tell them how to do it, they get angry at you, because that's exactly what I did. I have people in the comments, they're all angry. They're like, why'd you have to be mean about it? I'm like, because you're poor. Like, you need a way out, and if I don't give you any tough love, you're not gonna find a way out. Broke people, you tell them high yield savings, 3% interest a year. They go crazy. They act like they just discovered fire. I'm not gonna use the word that I used. I said it looked like circus monkeys who discovered fire. That's what I said. But she was like, oh, 3% a year. Oh, I'm gonna be rich. Because that literally there was a tweet where it's like, guys, let me put you on high yield savings. And he posted a screenshot, and it's like he's making $30 a month from his high yield savings account.
Yeah.
Which like that means
you don't have any money in there. Like you
Yeah,
probably
like,
now.
what is
granted,
that-
you're making more than you would with the
what is that,
traditional
like,
savings
what
account.
is that $30 a month really gonna do for you?
Because here's the thing: it's like you save. There's people who save to save, but the smartest way to save is to save with a plan.
Yeah.
Because you can always stack the money and save for a rainy day, and then hey, the rainy day comes. Now you're prepared. But if you have no plan, it's like, all right, I'm going to stack this money. Stack this money for what? Because you have to have a plan for the next plan.
And no, but the craziest part is like the prices are just gonna go up, and now your savings is fucking
because
dead
there's
anyways.
people who will save. Let's just say if you're trying to save
The
for
reason
a house,
the
right?
reason saving doesn't work is because the cost of living goes up,
Right.
inflation goes up, the price of
It
everything
evens
goes up.
out. Everything
So
evens out.
You could be saving as much money as you want. No, because your savings gets lower and lower as prices go up. But bro, so like the biggest gap in knowledge, people that are broke, they're spending their entire life playing defense, trying to figure out how to save
most
their
part,
way,
yeah.
save their way out of their situation.
Yeah.
But with prices continuing to go up, you're never gonna find a way to save yourself out of your situation, right? Rich people, they play offense 24/7. They just attack. You look at every single rich person, they got rich by just attacking.
You have
and
to
taking
take a risk. Yeah, you have to
50
take a
Cent
risk.
filed bankruptcy a couple times, once or twice, if I'm not mistaken. 50 Cent is still richer. People be like, you filed bankruptcy. 50 Cent is still rich.
Yeah, because bankruptcy is just a game.
Donald Trump filed bankruptcy twice or 3 times also. Still a billionaire.
And tell you the truth, a lot of those who made a shit ton of money through traditional business, not like entertainment and all the other stuff, but those who made that kind of money, a ton of them through entrepreneurship have been on the verge of losing it all.
Yes.
And then you take that crazy risk.
But if you notice, they're all playing offense. So these broke people that are like they might laugh. They're like, Donald Trump filed bankruptcy. I'm like, brother, you have a $50,000 a year job, struggling paycheck to paycheck. He's a billionaire. He filed bankruptcy because that's a financial game, but they don't teach that to poor people. They don't teach people, like poor people, like, hey, like these numbers are imaginary. They teach them like, oh, save these, you're gonna lose it, and you're gonna be dead. Like that's not what happens at all. So you don't win on defense. Like
you
I
don't.
think
You
it's
definitely
terrible-
don't.
It's terrible to teach.
And the
people
thing
that.
is, like, you can't just, all right, I'm gonna save. But towards what? Like, there's people who are saving towards a down payment to a house. You're saving towards the car. Great. Once you get to the point where you have enough to go and purchase it, your savings is done.
But the issue also,
gone now.
The issue also is like when you save, right? When you tell people to save, typically they can't save fast enough to even invest in anything.
Correct, because
they don't make
now
enough
it's
money.
a small. Like,
And you
let's
can't-
take that screenshot into account, right? Where you're saying, all right, you're getting like $30 additional per month. That's great. By the end of the year, if you have like that 30 per month, you're probably at about that's 120 a quarter.
Yeah.
So you're just under $500 that you have that additional money by the end of the year.
Right.
Now you're not out earning the interest that you're getting per se. So it's not really something that's going to make a dent
You're
in
not
your
out
day
earning
to day.
anything.
So you're in
You're
a
burning money,
situation
you're
where,
still technically losing money.
right, what you should probably do is, okay, I have this additional amount of money that I could possibly go and try to invest and take a risk to see if something will work. Granted, there's no guarantee that it will work, but there's a switch that has to turn on to where I can take a risk. Hence why, to circle it all back to the different tiers of the homeless, where you have somebody who is high functioning but just homeless. You're not a bum per se, you're still you may live out of your car, or if you just on the street, you try to make
But
the best of the
what's
situation.
crazy is
you're hustling.
the people that are saving are actually closer to being homeless than the people that are just taking all the risks.
Correct.
Because the people that are taking all the risks is like,
I would
okay,
say yes.
they take the risk saying like, okay, if I fuck up, I'm gonna be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I'm gonna take the risk, and they typically like you can't really do anything catastrophic that will make you homeless.
Right.
In America, the people that are just saving, they're slowly losing money because inflation and everything else is killing them. They're getting closer and closer to homelessness. It's getting harder and harder to pay bills. They're getting closer to homelessness without even them knowing it. Whereas the other person, like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna try to get out of it. They somehow by trying to get out of it, you're slowly getting out of it.
And I think the pandemic should have taught people a lot about, where we are. Because truly, the moment that they went like 6 months, there were people who were out of job for 6 months. You still had to go and pay rent. You still had to go and pay your mortgage. You still had to make sure bills were getting paid left and right just to keep the lights on. But you weren't getting no income coming in. You were much closer towards what you feared the most than you actually thought. And for some other people, you recognize you were much closer to your dreams than you actually, thought you were. So it's like
you're always like this far away from a completely different life because that's all it really takes. You get one little thing that like pops off, right? Like anything. It could be one viral video, it could be one business, and you just change your life completely. But people don't realize it because it seems so far away. It seems like an unattainable goal.
Right. That's why every time whether it's we pass by to go to Target, we see the post of the homeless person, or whether I'm in New York City, I'm just walking around, I just see a ton of like homeless. It always gets into my mind like, hey, you're not that far from it. Now, granted, I have the mindset to where I don't think I would ever find myself there, but you never know. You never say never, in life. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, what could have went wrong, and what's consistently going wrong?
You think there's more or less homeless people now, or you think it's?
I would say,
good question.
Tell you the truth, I think more.
More.
I think more.
Why do you say that?
I think more because
I'm gonna Google this.
Throughout the time, let's just say if it was from 20 years ago to now, I think people will blow through money faster now than they did before because of the advent of the internet. So there's they
make worse financial decisions.
Worse financial decisions at that, and just because now things are, I don't want to say oversaturated, but with the amount of real estate investors to a certain degree, you're in the business of trying to get money rather than housing people. So if there's a lot of other people who don't qualify, you would rather say, I want qualified people inside my building versus, just having capacity. So you'd rather deal with vacancy and pay that than have somebody who probably can't pay.
Okay,
so there's probably more
this,
people who are becoming homeless.
And you know what? America's homeless population hasn't gone up that much in the past 13 years.
So it's increased, but not substantially.
No, it's actually lower than it was in 2007.
Really?
Yes.
Well, before the crash.
So I'm looking here now.
It's lower now. So does this count? Does this count individuals who are living out of vehicles, because granted, they live in an RV.
Yeah,
there's
people,
mobile
people
homes.
have no shelter. But one thing that is going up is the amount of people living with their parents.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
That makes
so
sense.
Before it was 41 in 1900, over 100 years ago, it was 41% of people lived with their parents. In 1960s, when we were booming, only 29% of 20-year-olds or 18 to 29-year-olds lived with their parents. Now in 2020, 52% of people that are 18 to 29 live with their parents.
Probably.
So homelessness has not gone up, but the amount of people living with their parents at
it depends
29 years old has gone up.
Depends on what age.
Housing, it's 18 to 29.
No, because if it's 18 to 29, then considering what's the probability of being homeless between those ages, and then what circumstances do you find yourself in that position?
Yeah.
Because if you're 18 years old and you're homeless, either you must have already been homeless prior to becoming 18.
Yeah.
Right? And so you must have been somebody who's going from couch to couch, or you didn't really have anything. Does this count individuals who just moved out? You don't got enough money for a studio apartment, because let's really, look at it from now. Studio apartments, 1 bedrooms, a bit pricey. So if you're now coming out and let's say you come out of college or something like that, pretty much your entire check is going to get go towards your living situation. So most people would rather stay at home, stack their money, than go make their move.
Right.
But it all depends on ages, because I would wonder between mid-30s to 50s, what is the percentage of homeless between?
Well, no, so it's saying the homelessness has not gone up. So that's a good thing. That means
Yeah, because I think you would have to look at the different percentages.
Yeah. So homelessness has not gone up, but what has gone up is people living with their parents.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, because more people are living with their parents, maybe they're not homeless, which is why the homelessness has not gone up. But yeah, I think what's happening is housing is getting less and less affordable.
Right.
And because of that, people just end up living with their parents. Because, bro, I was looking, like, I have employees that are living in my building now. They're all paying. And I'm like, yo, this is expensive as fuck to just survive.
Right.
So I have the numbers. Remember we asked about, like, the cost of living across the United States? What did you say it was? I remember.
For
Just how much it would cost to survive in the cost of living in the United States.
Oh, what was it, like 30 grand, something like that?
Bro.
35 grand just to get by?
No. If you want to live paycheck to paycheck, depending on what
Oh,
state
no,
you
paycheck
live
to
in.
paycheck. What was it, like 54? Something
Depending
like that?
on what state you live in. I have
Yeah,
all the
depending on the
numbers right here.
states. Yeah, they had, I think
I
it was.
pulled it up and I was kind of like,
New York City was what, 54?
let me see.
No, it's probably a little bit less, maybe like 40 something. It escapes me. I know probably the answer is going to blow my mind.
Yeah, I was like, this is insane, bro. Like, how does
But
this
what's the
even
average?
happen?
Is it based off of like what in particular? Because in my mind, I'm thinking family of 4. But if
let me
it's
see if I
like a
can find
single
this.
adult, I think you could live on less. But you have a family to feed now, numbers increase. And it all depends on what it is that you're trying to do with said family. Are you attempting vacations? Are you doing extracurricular activities? Is there going to be like a daycare sort of ordeal? Is there going to be tutors and all the other stuff? Because if you just scraping by and there's nothing additional, I think you can
Okay.
lower the amount substantially.
So the cost of living in 2024 per state, it's crazy, bro, how much you need to survive. Or I don't know if even that's the right one. Let's see. Maybe it was this one.
What does that one say?
That's no, because that was like a score. I want to see how much it costs.
Oh, okay. But I would assume it just depends on how much individuals are in the family. What is the intention, or I should say, what kind of lifestyle did you want to lead and live? And then I guess it all comes down to like the age range. Because if it's newborn children, brutal.
Yeah.
I think as the kids get a bit older, maybe you can save a bit more money. But that 1 to 6, 7, woof.
There was an image that I
There's
found.
not enough of a routine that exists there. And I'm not even a parent. I'm just thinking based off of, my childhood and what I've observed. Because I think
But
I became
keep-
cheaper for my
keep
parents
talking.
once I
I'm
got
gonna
to
find
8.
this thing right now, and once I find it, I'll be able to show you. But I remember it was like,
Yeah.
no, it's all good. You can keep talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna know like what it is. But yeah,
That's
it
me
was
thinking.
crazy, bro. I was like, damn, that's fucked. Like,
Was it ridiculous numbers to where?
yeah. Let's see. How much money do you need in each state here? There it is. Okay, so if you had to guess, like, how much do you need? How much was this?
Me being a New Yorker, well, what's the group? Is it just single individual?
How much money you need to live in every state? Oh, this is 2019, so this number is going to be even.
Okay, so if 2019, we could use 2019.
Okay, so guess how much you would need to, like, live, how much you would need to survive in a state.
In a state across America, probably like 35,000.
Well, let's say, like, okay, we'll do Texas, right?
43,000.
Damn, nailed it.
Okay.
That was crazy.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Texas, 43,000.
New York.
New York, 54,000. 61?
65.
65, Jesus. Now is this based off of like what's the grouping? Just
Just How much money do you need to live in every state? And required hours per week to earn it. Oh, here we go. The income a family needs. This is the one. So if you have a family, this is so ridiculous. If you want to raise a family comfortably in each state, it's so ridiculous, and this is why people have no fucking no kids anymore. They don't have any houses. Like if you're a family, and you want to have 2 kids, 2 adults, 2 kids, parents and 2 kids. The cost of living, doesn't matter where you are, is absolutely ridiculous. So just to give you an idea, Mississippi is the lowest, but you need $178K a year.
Yep.
To raise a family of 2 in Mississippi.
Jesus. And that's to live comfortable. So you'd have to define what is considered comfortable.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to find another one here. But this is literally the graph I was looking at. And every single place, Florida, you need $209,000 a year to raise 2 kids and a wife comfortably.
What?
Comfortably.
Double income.
Bro, it's so ridiculous how much money you need, and like people don't realize. Oh, here we go. The income an individual needs to live comfortably in the U.S., and it's ridiculous as well. Someone's calling me. Leave me alone.
Wow. Yeah, that makes that is a very, very high number, and I think the key word here is comfortably.
This is 2024.
Yeah, the key word is comfortably.
You need $112,000 to live comfortably in New York a year. Florida, you need $93,000. The lowest is West Virginia, where you only need $79,000 to live
And that's
comfortably.
that's single individual.
Yeah, an individual needs.
Yeah,
the highest is Massachusetts. You need $116,000 a year to live comfortably.
What's the lowest?
West Virginia, you need $79,000 a year to live comfortably.
And that just and again, it goes back to what would you define as comfortable?
Literally, the way I think about it too, it's like imagine fucking groceries. I went to the grocery store the other day. Bro, you need so much money to even survive there.
Right. And especially, I think a lot of people don't know how to pick up groceries or how to purchase things, because there's ways to where you can buy food in bulk, freeze. You have to portion stuff out, so it all comes down to how much it is that you're eating there. Because groceries are by far increasing incredibly, so it all depends on what's your diet, what is it that you're eating, what is it that you're doing. So it's a tough time. It's a tough time, but I think those who win and will win are those who have a plan. Those who don't have a plan, it's over for you, because ultimately
get ready to be living right here on the corner. Maybe not this corner, but another corner over there.
I mean, it's a possibility, which I don't think I would ever envision a circumstance in which that would be me, but I'll never be somebody who doesn't think it can't happen, because all it takes is a few catastrophes, and especially if and I want to preface this because we didn't mention it prior, but this does not apply to people who have mental illness. This does not apply to them.
Yeah.
This is just your regular, everyday person who may or may not have any experience. I think we've all experienced trauma.
I think the issue is like people will just blame their
people are developing new illnesses.
Yeah, they'll blame a mental illness, right? It's like I see it all the time. It's fucked up, but like you look at mental illnesses in the United States, it's like
yeah, it's going on.
Because then people like
everybody's autistic.
It's the easiest cop out, bro. I'll be like, yo, my bad. Like I have mental illness. I'm bipolar. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So those who are legitimately going through that type of stuff, this does not apply to you. This to the individuals
but also, I feel
who
like people with real mental illnesses should have like people like family that help.
Yeah,
them.
there should be individuals who are there for them. If you have like nonverbal or all that other stuff that's going on, then you're gonna need the resources. They should allocate resources towards you because you legitimately can't fend for yourself if you had to, right? This is completely different from that. This is the able-bodied individuals who, for all intents and purposes, can go out, just don't. So just want to make sure I preference that, because I know there's going to be somebody in the comments like, well, I have one leg. There's nothing I can. All right. This doesn't apply to you. But overall, it's just a very fascinating thing. I probably, oh, well, there it is. It's the same way the last episode ended. But there it is 4 times. Yeah, but that has me thinking about how we can figure out the homeless crisis in America. So we'll have to see what can be done over time. Right, yeah, you're going to have to definitely clean the mic, get the Clorox. It's probably more
my
Diddy
God.
than it's
He's
probably
done.
more. Yeah, it's as dirty as a back room in Diddy's house. But one way or another, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, there's been another episode of the Assiduous Podcast. I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual D. Chiseled Adonis. He is a serial entrepreneur, Filipino Prince Tycoon.
Tycoon!
Rene Lacard. And this is We Are Assiduous.
Assiduous.